Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a trip into the mind of an ancient genius from the Greek city of Abdera. We're talking about a guy who literally discovered what might be the greatest scientific idea in human history. And the crazy part? He did it without a lab, without a microscope, literally without a single piece of modern scientific equipment. His name was Democritus. His story is absolutely fascinating, not just because of how he saw the physical world, but how he saw us. Okay, let's dive into this.
So, imagine you're holding a plain piece of wood. Now, if you take a knife and cut that wood right in half, you've got two smaller pieces, right? Cut one of those in half and you get an even smaller piece. Well, Democritus, along with his associate Leucippus, posed this brilliant logic puzzle to the thinkers of their day. They asked, if you just keep cutting that piece of wood into smaller and smaller pieces, what exactly happens? Can you literally keep dividing it forever, into infinity? Or is there a physical limit? They used this exact thought experiment to completely flip the traditional beliefs of the ancient world upside down.
So Democritus thought about it and concluded that, no, you actually can't divide matter forever. He believed there absolutely had to be a limit. He proposed that there were these incredibly tiny, completely invisible particles that simply could not be broken down any further. He called them atomos. It's an ancient Greek term that literally means uncuttable or indivisible. You can probably guess it's the direct ancestor of our modern word, atom. He argued that these invisible, uncuttable building blocks were the fundamental foundation of all reality.
And the scope of this theory? It was just astonishing. Democritus didn't stop at wood. He theorized that literally everything in existence is made of these atoms. We're talking humans, animals, plants, water, towering mountains, and even the distant stars. He concluded that these tiny particles are continuously moving through completely empty space. They're constantly colliding, separating, and locking together in endless different arrangements to create every single object we see in the universe. It's like a giant puzzle.
Now, to put this into perspective, think about this number, 2,400. We really need to pause and appreciate the sheer brilliance here. Democritus imagined the atomic structure of the universe over 2,400 years ago, and he did the whole shebang purely through reason and logic. He couldn't see these particles, he couldn't touch them, and he obviously couldn't test them with modern scientific experiments. Yet, his central concept, that matter is made of tiny particles, was so wildly accurate that it fundamentally transformed modern physics and chemistry millennia later.
But here is where our explainer takes a really surprising pivot. This is where we uncover the true depth of his genius. See, Democritus is widely celebrated as a father of modern science for his work on the physical world, but he actually took that incredible analytical mind of his and shifted it inward. He became deeply invested in human behavior, in ethics, and specifically, and this is what we're really focusing on today, the meaning of lasting happiness.
Let's explore this second, arguably more practical side of his genius in Section 1, Mastering the Self, Democracy's Philosophy of Happiness.
So historical accounts suggest Democritus actually came from a family of immense wealth and privilege. But instead of just chasing more power or riches, he formulated a really powerful ethical framework. He wrote, "The brave man is he who overcomes not only his enemies, but his pleasures." And this brilliantly illustrates his belief that true courage wasn't just about suiting up and defeating your opponents in battle or business. True bravery was an inside job. It meant mastering yourself, controlling your own desires, and actively choosing wisdom over temptation.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. Democritus recognized thousands of years ago that chasing external validation is a total trap. Happiness simply cannot be achieved through wealth, fame, or excessive pleasure. Think about our modern world for a second. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us that if we just buy this new gadget or get famous for that, we'll finally be happy. Well, Democritus looked at human nature and realized, no, those things are actually the enemies of true contentment. Instead, he offered a super clear, actionable set of steps for a good life. He laid out these requirements for lasting happiness. First up, moderation. It's not about denying yourself everything, but enjoying things in balance. Second, self-discipline. That's the bravery we were just talking about, having the willpower to say no to your immediate desires. And third, inner peace. By practicing the first two, you naturally achieve a calm, unbothered state of mind. He firmly chose wisdom over temptation, believing this path was the ultimate key to a joyful life. You know, because of this optimistic, focused philosophy, he actually earned a fantastic nickname back in antiquity. They called him the laughing philosopher. Now, I want to be clear here, his laughter wasn't some cruel ridicule of other people, not at all. Rather, he emphasized cheerfulness. He observed the chaotic, often totally ridiculous ways humans behave with a sense of gentle amusement. It was really a reflection of his deep, peaceful understanding of life's endless contradictions.
He laughed because, well, he saw the irony in how we live. He believed that people often create their own misery through greed, ignorance, and uncontrolled desires. We literally do it to ourselves. And wow, what a timeless, striking warning that remains highly relevant to our lives right now. When we let our desires control us, instead of us controlling them, we build our own traps. Democritus saw this clear as day, and just opted out of that whole cycle.
This perspective built him an incredible historical reputation. Think about it. While many other thinkers of his era primarily focused on the darkness of the world, like human suffering, tragedy, and angst, Democritus stood out as this amazing beacon of positivity and contentment. He proved that you can be profoundly intelligent and analytical without being cynical and depressed.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how close we came to losing all of this. Let's look at Section 2, an enduring ancient legacy, the survival of his radical ideas. You see, despite his undeniable genius, Democritus definitely did not enjoy universal admiration. He actually found himself on the wrong side of an ancient philosophical rivalry with Plato. Plato strongly opposed his ideas. In fact, some accounts claim he wished all of Democritus's books would just go up in flames. It was basically the ancient Greek version of cancel culture. Consequently, Plato completely ignored him in his writings. But thankfully, and I mean really thankfully, Aristotle, another absolute titan of philosophy, frequently discussed and critiqued Democritus. By doing so, he accidentally preserved his theories for future generations.
But even with Aristotle's help, we still suffered a massive historical tragedy. Ancient scholars tell us that Democritus was incredibly prolific. He wrote dozens of comprehensive books that covered everything from ethics and medicine to mathematics and astronomy. But today, well, his complete works have entirely disappeared. Not a single complete book survived the centuries.
It's hard to stomach, but every single one of his original manuscripts was lost to the ravages of time, fire, and neglect. Just imagine the absolute wealth of knowledge, the deep explorations into human happiness, the brilliant early scientific observations that were just completely wiped out. All we have left to piece together are mere fragments and quotes recorded by other people.
Effectively, his voice was silenced by time. The man who arguably fathered modern science and who offered this beautiful, cheerful blueprint for human happiness was largely erased from the primary historical record. It honestly remains one of the heaviest intellectual losses in human history.
And yet, despite the vanishing of his books, despite the opposition of his fierce rivals, and despite the heavy silence of centuries, one extraordinary idea survived: atoms. His one simple, logical question about what everything is actually made of proved so resilient that it endured to completely reshape humanity's understanding of reality. It just goes to show that a powerful truth, once unleashed into the world, is nearly impossible to destroy. Which brings us to our final thought. We know Democritus unlocked the invisible physical universe with his mind, but honestly, his greatest lesson was about our internal universe. So I want to leave you with this question to reflect on. Have you mastered your own desires the way Democritus mastered the secrets of the universe? Because true happiness, exactly as the laughing philosopher taught us 2,400 years ago, doesn't come from what we accumulate, but from what we conquer within ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.